I think we're in a dark place as a species. What do I mean by this? I mean just we've lost creativity. We've lost our artistic value. And it's really a shame if you think about it. Cuz look at YouTubers nowadays. I'm not a YouTuber like in the conventional sense, but look at where they are. They're not creating things for artistic value anymore. A lot of these people are sellouts. A lot of these people are getting sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. I'll never do that. Never. And although there are a select few that are still artistically valued and creative just in general, I feel like money, first and foremost, is becoming even bigger of a deal than it was a few years ago. And that's just through all of media. Back in the day, even when I was a kid, okay, Disney didn't own Marvel, Star Wars, Fox, or even Pixar at the time. When I was little, when I was like 4 and was really like a big fan of all of the creativity just flowing through the air, Disney didn't even own Pixar at the time. They did pretty soon after that, but they didn't at the time. And I think the biggest example of corporatism in America and how it's becoming like a big deal and why it's becoming kind of like a disease in a way is Disneyland. Now, I'll tell you something like this. I'm not one of those neoliberal SJWs who's going to be saying, fuck the corporations and the CEOs. No, get rid of all your money and give it to the homeless people who just spend it on drugs or whatever. Not one of those kind of people. I believe that if you work hard in this country, that you are able to have as much as you want, because guess what? You fucking earned it. And honestly, I'll be the first one to say, Disney earned all their money. Yeah, they're greedy and stingy and they do a lot of shady shit, but Walt Disney was a creative genius. The guys who run Disney, like the CEOs behind the scenes, these guys, while not creative, they're fucking smart. They know what they're doing. You can't go from nothing to $1 trillion business just cause of sheer luck. Yeah, that's a factor, but at the same time, you gotta be pretty intelligent. And even though Walt Disney was a creative genius, he wasn't necessarily the one who made Disney the $1 billion, $1 trillion industry that it is now. Okay, he made Disneyland, which is why it was so magical. Because Walt Disney himself, honestly, this might be different compared to what is actually out there. I don't think he gave a shit about the money. I think really, he just liked making things. He liked making movies. He liked making people happy. While Disneyland was being built, he wouldn't have lived in that dingy-ass apartment over that fire station just cause. He wouldn't have done that if he was $1 billion worth man. And he was! He died super rich in the 70s, or whenever he died. It might have been, it was in the 70s. Or 60s. Something like that. He died somewhere along that line. He was very rich. But his legacy was about creativity. And that's kind of lost now. Now, granted, I understand some of the things that Disneyland specifically is doing now. I don't know economics as well as like any experts or anything. So I'm going to be focusing less on the company of Disney as a whole and more on Disneyland specifically because I know a lot about that. Because I grew up with Disneyland. Okay? So, Disneyland, for example, back when I was a kid, ticket prices were fairly expensive-ish. You had the ish. Okay? Because a day pass was about $50-$60. Now that sounds like a lot of money until you realize that, wait, not really, considering what you were getting at the time. You were getting a lot. You were able to have fun. You were able to be in a magical place. It was like, wow, the happiest place on earth. It was the happiest place on earth for a fucking reason. They didn't just slap that on there and just be like, well, let's just make it depressing. No, these people really cared about what they were doing. And I don't know if it was the CEO who kind of changed that feeling, but kind of changed that feeling. Now, if you look at Disneyland, just day prices, you're looking at upwards of $150, $160. Now, I will give benefit of the doubt. The pandemic really fucked everyone up But at the same time, I feel like for Disneyland specifically, it was amazing. Wow. They really got not screwed. They got helped. Think about it, okay? When I was a kid, getting a season ticket for a family of 5, I was a part of a family of 5 when I was a kid. It was my parents, me, and my 2 sisters. We got Disney tickets, season tickets, until I was about 10 or 11 years old. That was a long time. And we were a fairly lower middle class, or like literally middle of the road family. We weren't rich, but we weren't dirt poor. But I wouldn't, if someone was like, who's poor? Raise your hand. I probably would have raised my hand. Alright, at the time. And actually, especially now. But at the time, okay, we had a decent income. We had 2 incomes. So it was like, making ends meet was possible. And we had enough disposable income to where the $1,200 a year-ish that it costs to get 5 Disney season tickets, I think it might have been even $1,500 a year, or anywhere between that and like $2,000 a year. Wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible, if you really think about it. You can go to Disney pretty much whenever you want, except for like Friday or Saturday, but we wouldn't go on those days anyways, because like we're doing other shit. I don't know. And with the dual incomes that we had at the time, it was like, okay, why not? It wasn't a big deal. Like I said, fairly middle of the road. We were poor enough to where we needed dual incomes to like survive and have disposable income. Which means that most of the families around our tax bracket could afford Disney tickets. Woohoo! Most of our neighbors fucking had Disney tickets. Most of the people who lived in nicer areas than us had Disney tickets. Even a few people who lived in poorer areas than we did had Disney tickets. Like I said, middle class. Literally middle of the road. Not poor, like dirt poor, not rich. I never held $100,000 at any given time. But again, like I said, we weren't born with no spoon or a silver spoon in our mouths. I was born with a goddamn wooden ladle in my mouth. Okay, at the time. And I say at the time to keep mentioning how economics just in general has changed over the last 10 years. This was about 10 years ago. So, yeah, it was fairly affordable. Nothing was too crazy. And Disney at the time, actually rewarded you for living in the area. I say in the area. We live currently still, about an hour away from where Anaheim Disneyland location is. I'm not going to tell you in which direction, but it's about an hour away. Or, actually, no, it's more like 45 minutes if you book it. Because I've driven there before. I've driven to Honda Center, which is like down the street from Disneyland. Yeah, 45 minutes if you book it. And if you lived within like, I think Southern California area, they would give you discounts on tickets or like by showing your driver's license, which shows your address and everything. And yeah, so you get rewarded. It'd be like, thanks for being a loyal customer. It's kind of like a membership. You know, if you go to the gym one time, nobody's going to give a shit. If you're at the gym all the time, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, thanks, man. And that's just how it worked at the time. And then Disney realized something. And I honestly don't blame them for realizing this. Because, no shit. People who went to Disneyland, we would go in the early afternoon. Normally, when my family arrived at Disneyland, it would be about 1 p.m. on a Sunday. We would stay until about 6 p.m. on that very Sunday. And then we'd be like, well, we've been here for a couple hours, went on a couple rides, went and saw the parade. Cool. We're gone. We can come back whenever we want, so who cares? And we left. We were there for 5 hours. Guess what we bought? Almost nothing. The most we would buy is a churro, because I will never go to Disneyland and not get one of their churros, because they are amazing. They're great churros. Top tier. Good job, Disney. Don't ruin your churro supplier. Guaranteed that's what makes you all your money. You're not $1 trillion business for Snow White and Mickey Mouse. It's because of your churros. But still, we wouldn't get any merch. No Disney merch. No. We'd get a toy occasionally at their big Disney store in downtown. Whenever we went there, odds are my mom would hand us like $10 each or something and be like, hey, you want a toy? Sure, why not? I mean, I used to collect all of the Toy Story toys. I used to collect all of them when I was little. And, yeah, every so often she'd hand me like $15 and be like, here, add to your collection or whatever. And I'd get like the Green Army dudes or something. I don't know. So the most we would spend on any given day going into Disneyland was maybe like $40 while we were in there, whether it be on like, churros or like a toy that we would either share or get like 2 of or something like that. Still, maximum $40-$50 while we were there. Not bad. If we wanted snacks, get outside of the churros, guess what? We brought our own snacks. All right, we had a little diaper bag full of like Doritos and Cheetos and shit like that, and because we had that anyways. Okay, if you live in a house with kids in it, you're gonna get one of those family packs of Doritos that have like 30 little individual baggies in there, because that's just what you do. And we'd bring them to Disneyland. But guess what? Disney realized that they're not really making much money through that. They got smart. And I don't blame them for getting smart. So then they looked at the people who don't have season passes. People who get the 3-day, 2-day passes. They fly into Disneyland. They walk into their hotel. Ooh. Hi. And then guess what? Let's see the gift shop. Let's buy something. Vroom. They spend all their money. Vroom. Let's go to Disneyland. Vroom. They didn't bring any snacks, so if they're hungry, Dad, I'm hungry. Don't worry, kids. Money is no issue because we're on vacation. Let's go to the Disney restaurant. Vroom. Let's go to the Disney store. Vroom. What? Those poor-ass kids get 1 churro? Let's get 12! And they get all the churros. I hated those people because they'd steal all my churros. So anyway, they would spend all of the money that they wanted. It was not an issue, like at all at the time. Yeah, so the families who were there on like a vacation of sorts would spend money willy-nilly. It'd be a non-issue. Because if you're on vacation, like a once a year, once every 2 years, once in a lifetime kind of vacation, money is not an issue. If I went on a cruise, I wouldn't care how much money I spend. It would not be an issue until I got home and realized, like, uh-oh. But like us, who lived in the area, we'd be like, why would we eat at the Disney restaurant? There's a McDonald's down the street. We can leave Disneyland whenever we fucking want. Who cares? And it was really a who cares? Because it doesn't matter. It would be like, we can go to Disneyland literally any day we wanted, except for Friday and Saturday. So why would that be an issue? But the families who are only there 3 days, either one, they're not going to know about the McDonald's down the street, or 2, they're not going to want to go there. They're going to say, we're here for the experience. We're going to go to the Disney restaurant. Actually, the restaurant we went to all the time was across the street called Tiffy's. It was a fairly cheap restaurant. It was a family diner. They had the best food. They were amazing. Whenever we'd go to Disneyland, we would always leave early to go to Tiffy's because they closed at 9. So anyway, end to that story. I went to downtown Disney not too long ago. I'm gonna bring that up later on. Tiffy's burned down. I don't know if it burned down. They closed it, like the restaurant closed, and they tore the building down. It was really upsetting. So I've decided that if I ever become rich and famous, my first plan is to buy that property, build Tiffy's back to a T, and open it for business. I don't care what kind of financial loss it is. I could be losing thousands of dollars a month. I need my Tiffy's. That's my heart and soul right there. Anyway, so yeah. And honestly, Disney realized during winter and summer specifically, there are enough people who are willing to pay that much money to fill Disneyland, to where season ticket holders aren't really necessary. But they were in a position to where they couldn't just get rid of the season tickets, so they were jacked up the price. They're like, sorry guys, we didn't add anything else, but business. And guess what? That $2,000 a year turned into $5,000. And we were like, hell no. Obviously. Yeah, an average family might have $2,000 disposable income in the year, but $5,000? $6,000 to where you're paying $500 a month to where that's a literal extra bill? Most families don't have that. Most Most single people don't have that. Hell, I can't imagine paying an extra $500 a month for basically the same experience that you were once paying $150 a month for. Because, like, yeah, $150 a month is an extra bill, but realistically, it's not impossible to pay. It's not really even that crazy to think about. If I paid an extra $150 a month on top of what I'm already paying, it wouldn't be like the biggest deal. You know, especially at the time. At the time, like before the financial crisis of 2008, 2009, before the pandemic, at the time, in like 2006, 2007, early 2008, paying $150 a month wasn't crazy. Whereas now, paying $150 a month is worse than it was then. It's still not crazy. Paying $500 a month is. That's like a whole extra rent at the time. Not now. But now rent is like $1,200 for a shit apartment. Even still. That's why I live with my parents. So Disney was like, wait, we need to jack up the price so that less people are buying season tickets so that we can spend more time and effort pandering to these people who are going to give us 10 grand as opposed to 2 grand over the year. Now, admittedly, okay, that was a really shitty move. I understand why Disney did it. Like, oh shit. Hold on, something fell. Okay, I understand why Disney did it. I'm gonna be honest, I completely get it. Honestly, financially, it made complete sense to do that. But morally, it's really fucked up. Just financially, it's really fucked up. So why would you do that? And then, just when they were like, oh, we can't get rid of these season ticket holders. Some of these upper class people still coming, not paying all the money that we want them to. What do? And then, the pandemic. Ooh. They get a out of jail free card, basically. And they fucking used it. Guess what? There are no more season tickets. Nope, that's not a thing. I don't know if it's the same at Disney World, but season tickets are gone, just in general. Yeah, they were super expensive before they left to where I wasn't going to get them anyways, but still, it's like, now you're just admitting it. That, like, yeah, guys, we were really trying to fuck you over in the beginning. And that's not even talking about all the shit that they took away and the shit that they added. Alright? Like I said, I'm going to stop talking about economics now because I don't really know much about it. I just know that the price skyrocketed much more than inflation ever did. And it's really fucked up. That's pretty much all I got to say about that. Now, let's talk about the creativity, which is where I care about the most. Downtown Disney, which I went to a couple weeks ago. Back in the day, there used to be an ESPN restaurant right at the entrance to Downtown Disney. I didn't really like it. I mean, I did like it. I thought it was cool. Because that was where, on away games, the announcers for like the Laker games or the Dodger games or whatever, they would call the game from that restaurant. It was really fucking cool to watch. It was awesome. And it was nice to be able to watch them call a game. Even if I didn't really care that much at the time about sports. It was nice for like the dads to see. It was really cool. And then across the way from that, there was a Rainforest Cafe. Both of them are gone. And guess what they were both replaced by? The Rainforest Cafe was replaced by a Star Wars trading post. I think it's like Trade Outpost or something like that. It's a store. Alright? Rainforest Cafe was a store to begin with, so it's not the craziest thing. But it's like, yo, why stop putting Star Wars and everything, alright? Who gives a shit? And then across the way, where the ESPN restaurant used to be, there's a Star Wars 4D experience. Who the fuck cares? For starters. Okay? Who cares? When I walked there, the place was deserted. Nobody was going to the Star Wars 4D experience. You know what was going on at the ESPN restaurant? People fucking went there. I don't know why they shut it down. I thought it was always packed whenever I would walk in there. It was like a bar. It looked like a Dave & Buster's, except exclusively about sports. That shit sounds awesome. I would love to go there. But now I can't. Because of the fucking Star Wars 4D experience. Who cares? Who cares about Star Wars 4D experience? And guess what? Apparently, it's not even fucking good. It doesn't even have Luke Skywalker or Leia or Darth Vader or any shit in it. You know what it's about? It's about some fucking Gungan kind of thing. I don't know. At least, like, Jar Jar Binks or something that looks like him, some monster, was on the front door being like, it's about me! And it's like, who fucking cares about him? I don't give a shit. And so, it's like, really? Taking away stuff. Now, I heard a take that really resonated with me. Because at first, I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. And then as I've aged, and as I've researched into this, that it makes more sense. Someone said, I'm sick of Disney putting their IPs everywhere at Disneyland. Now that take, at first, I thought it was ridiculous. I was like, yo, what the fuck? No, it's like, I love the Disney IPs that they have at Disneyland. And that's just it. The Disney IPs are what Disneyland is all about. Mickey Mouse, even the Pixar stuff, because Disney's owned Pixar for like quite a long time. Even before Disney owned Pixar stuff was at Disneyland. So it's kind of like, and Pixar's close enough to Disney to where it's like, oh, you can kind of fit Woody and Mickey Mouse together. It's not like out of the realm of possibility. But if you really think about it, why the fuck is Star Wars everywhere? Why? It's just so, why? And like, and same goes with Marvel. I love Marvel as much as the next guy. Alright, but looking at the Marvel land, I haven't been there, but looking at it, it looks like the kind of place to where you go there once, it's fucking cool. You go the second time, you've already seen it. Who cares? Same goes for the Star Wars thing, which I have been to. I went in 2019 to Disneyland, right after it opened. I think it's Galaxy's Edge is what it's called. First time going there, if you're a huge Star Wars fan, it's cool. If you're not a Star Wars fan, well, fuck you. If you are a Star Wars fan, it's cool. First time. I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan, but first time I saw it, I was like, it's kind of nice. And then you go the second time, and I guarantee you, it's boring. It's like, well, I saw this already. You know what didn't get like that at the time? Alright? Fucking Tomorrowland. Where there are all kinds of rides and stuff that are interesting. Not like the shit where you're just moving and all that stuff. No. Stuff like that had real character to it. Not just, hey guys, here's some Star Wars. Go for it. It was interesting. Like the Star Wars Star Tours, that shit was cool. All right, but the new Millennium Falcon thing that's at the Galaxy's Edge is fucking boring. I didn't really like it too much at all, because you're basically just sitting there watching a movie. And yeah, that's what Star Tours was about, but it was kind of the first of its kind. Now that shit's everywhere. Who cares? I don't even know what Captain EO was replaced with, but you know what I fucking loved as a kid? Captain EO. That was cool. It was Michael Jackson going hee hee back when he was still black. And not a white man, you know, he was like kind of in between Thriller and Bad. It was pretty cool. Watching that was fucking dope when I was a kid, because it was like, there was a certain magic to it. You could tell that people cared in a way that was different than just corporate interest. You could tell that whoever designed Captain EO, or whoever made Space Mountain, really cared. It wasn't some CEO or some higher up saying, hey, we don't have enough Star Wars in our Disneyland. Put Star Wars in our Disneyland. What? Are you telling me there's no Marvel at California Adventure? What? Put Marvel now in California Adventure. Do it now. Do it, please. No, please do it, or else you're fired. And like, it kind of sucks the creativity out of it. Let me know if you disagree. But I just think having IPs for the sole or having Disneyland lands purely off of IPs is really weird and really dumb. Now, an exception is Cars Land. Cars Land is pretty fucking cool. Alright? Do you know why? Because people who made it actually fucking cared. And it's not the kind of place where, unless you're a huge fan, like I don't think anyone's a huge fan of cars, then it can be infinitely interesting. Because everything is relatable. That's what Disney's supposed to be. Magical. It's supposed to be the happiest place on earth. But now it's the most corporate place on earth. Not only do you have to be in the top 1% to even get into the goddamn place, now you gotta get a reservation to get into the place. Guess what? Reservations, they're 3 months early. So if you live in the area and you just all of a sudden one day want to go to Disneyland, well, fuck you. You can't do that. You have to plan it months in advance. And they charge you an arm and a leg for it. And on top of all of that, guess what you need to get in order to get on any of the fucking rides? Genie Plus. I don't even know much about Genie Plus, okay? I know almost nothing about it. But I know one thing. Genie Plus has kind of replaced FastPass / standing in lines. But now they charge you for it. Like $50. What? Who would do that? Well, guess what? Everyone who goes to Disneyland would do it. Do you know why? Because you have no other goddamn option. And that's what sucks. That's the worst part about Disneyland. It's gotten to where the experience is lesser. The new lands are huge their first day, but then who cares? Who gives a shit? And it's going the way of Universal Studios, alright? I like Universal Studios as much as the next guy, but guess what? Never felt fucking magical while I was there. Never felt like a great place. It felt like, cool, you can go on some fun rides if you like Despicable Me, or The Simpsons, or Harry Potter. If you don't like any of those, well, too fucking bad. Sucks to be you. No theme park for you. You're not gonna get it. But guess what? When I was a kid, going into Tomorrowland, Adventureland, even fucking Mickey's Toontown, everyone knows what that is. Whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you watch Disney movies or otherwise, you can understand everything. You can enjoy everything as it is. Guess what? If you haven't seen all movies in the MCU, fuck you. Marvel's Avengers Campus, you're not going to understand it. You're going to be like, who the fuck is that? If you don't know everything about Star Wars, well, guess what? Too bad. Fuck you. You're not going to understand Galaxy's Edge. If you were too young to watch the Star Wars movies and you don't want to watch them now because you think, they're from the 70s, they're boring. You're valid. You're entitled to that. Yeah, you know what? The movies kind of look like shit now because they were made in the 70s. And sorry if you didn't want to watch them. Yeah, you don't like film, whatever, but you're not going to understand Galaxy's Edge. Fuck you. Too bad. If you don't like the new Marvel movies because you think it's super corporate, which it is, well, fuck you. You're not going to understand it. You're not going to like it at all. But guess what? If you've never seen the movie Cars, it's not hard to understand Cars Land at all. Hell, you don't even need to know any of their fucking names. It's just easy to understand. And with the parades, especially, a parade is pretty much like a dance party with something just running through. Anyone can get the concept of a parade. And guess what? You know who's leading the parade? Mickey Mouse. I doubt there is a single person on this planet who won't see the big circle surrounded by two smaller circles on top of his head and won't instantly assume that it's Mickey Mouse. Okay? He's kind of like Spider-Man, alright? To where no matter what, seeing the symbol, you're gonna know who it is. Because that's just something like that. It's not like the Marvel movies to where if you're old, yuck, I don't like it. Or if you're a baby, I'm not gonna get it. Or if you're emo, I don't want to watch it. You're gonna instantly know who it is. And that's what made it magical at the time. The parades, really, were what made it magical to me. And there was something that everyone had that made it magical. But now, looking at how Galaxy's Edge takes up so much, and looking at how Avengers Campus takes up so much, and looking at how much everyone seems to not give a shit, it bothers me. Not only do you have to be rich to get into Disneyland, but it's like, the fuck? It's annoying, really. And you know what? I don't even know how it is, because I see a lot of my friends post on Instagram saying like, oh my god, I went to Disneyland and I went to Avengers Campus for the 8th time and I still love it because, oh my god. No, don't do that shit, okay? And it's just, I don't know. I shouldn't be bothered by it. But I am. Because unlike all of these people who see Disneyland as it is now and are like, wow, this is great. Disneyland is still good. I would gladly go if I could afford it. But I remember what it once was. And that's what bothers me. I can see and clearly remember what it was and see how far it's fallen from grace. Disneyland isn't bad. It's probably the best theme park option in Southern California still. But it fell far. Which just goes to show how amazing it was at one point. Maybe it's because I was a kid and now I'm a cynical adult. Or maybe it was because that magic really was lost. I don't know. You tell me. Thanks for watching. And let me know if you can afford to go to Disneyland. And if you can afford to take a friend. Thank you. I'll see you next time Disney fucks something up.